Highland Park 21-year-old Orkney single malt Scotch whiskey. Is it any good, and is it worth your hard-earned cash? Stay tuned for the Whiskey Whistle. Greetings and salutations, my whiskey people. Mark here from WhiskyWhistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America. Winterpeg has gone. We are now full into spring. Anyway, here we are with Highland Park 21-year-old from the Isle of Orkney, from the company called Edrington. So this is an island single malt Scotch whiskey, which isn't quite a region. But anyway, Highland Park is one of the most sought after single malts in the world. Top 10 for collectors for sure. And as you can see, I've got one glass poured already. And you'll notice something different about those glasses. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I'm going to pour another glass. So we'll try it now. And we'll also try it with a little bit of time in the glass to give you some extra information about that. All right. Okay, so let's get that poured. Now, you might notice that you have a hard time getting that cork off at first. That's because it's got a screw to it. It's a screw/cork. So you got to turn it before you get it off. It's threaded. So I don't know if you can see that there. All right, so let's get another little sample of this poured. Not too much. Hope you're all doing well as I drop the cork. Classic. Yes, hope you're all doing well. Boy, cannot wait to be able to actually travel places, meet people, do things. I think we're all a bit stir crazy. At least there is whiskey and friends. Hopefully you're doing both. You're having some whiskey with some friends on Zoom, on whatever sort of streaming video conferencing tool you've got to use. Now, first of all, we'll get into the color of this right off the bat. Now, they say this is natural in color. It's not stated on the label anywhere, though there is a tenet. One of the tenets of Highland Park is that it's natural in color. You can read about that on their website, probably highlandpark.com, I'm guessing. All right, anyway, so we've got pretty much a bang-on 24 karat gold. It's not copper, it's very bright, and it's reassuring to know that this is natural in color. And of course, they're the same because that's the same whiskey. So quite a nice hue. You'd almost expect it to be darker at 21 years old, but that's where the next comment comes in, is about let's call it the pedigree, the information about this whiskey. And I do like the chest. It's a little bit bling, and that's okay because it's 21 years old. It's beyond your typical, 12, 15, 18-year-old categories. So this is the 2019 year release, by the way. And this is a mix of different types of barrels. Let me see if we've got this here. Here we go. So the November 2019 release was created from 9 first fill European sherry seasoned hogsheads, 8 bourbon hogsheads. We don't know if that's first fill, second fill, whatever. And 9 refill hogsheads. So that would be, older. So lower fill, low enough they don't want to mention it. All laid down during 1998 and hand selected by Gordon Motion, our master whiskey maker. So that's kind of cool. It actually has a vintage. So we've got a vintage from casks laid down in 1998, and we have a year of release and an age statement. It's also 46% ABV. And according to the folklore, the legends about Edrington, beyond 45.7 or 8 or something like that, they no longer chill filter. You'll have to check that, research that yourself to find out if that's true. I do have a bottle of Highland Park Twisted Tattoo. It's up there, you can't see it. But that does say, I think, like lightly chill filtered. So maybe we can trust Edrington with this chill filtration, non-chill filtration sort of legend, I guess we'll call it. All right, enough chat. Price. What's the price of this? The final thing to chat about. This is $448 locally. Of course, it's long sold out. This was a bottle that we had for our gala back in November. So I've been hanging on to that. I had it under gas, so we should be basically as fresh as a daisy in there. Okay, we're going to start with the just poured Highland Park 21. Then we'll go on to the 30 minutes ago poured version, okay? Okay, so here we go. Oh, we want to check the legs out, right? Let's check the legs out. And yeah, these glasses, I have to make a big shout out to one special person. His name is Joe Colino. Joe, cheers to you, buddy. All right, so can you see these glorious glasses with a massive logo? These are going to be my review glasses. They show the logo off a little bit better than the ones that I had made for my patrons, which is starting to get out to them. Anyway, oh, and we forgot about the legs, and they were quite glorious. So let's check those legs out one more time. I got something on my glass here. Okay. So the legs, Highland Park 21. Very slow to start, as we would hope, as we would like. There, look at that. We just have legs beginning to trickle down. That's really slow. That is ridiculously slow. And that's cool. So we should expect a massive, rich, mouth coating mouthfeel. All right, on to the nose. As I jam my nose right in there. All kinds of fruit. We have interesting orchard fruits mixed with darker fruits as well. So a mix of orange fruits like peaches and nectarines and apricots mixed with cherries and strawberries, raspberries. Lots of strawberry coming through here. Yes, fresh strawberries as well as like strawberry jam and a hint of vanilla, a little bit of something caramelly. It's really interesting that the sherry, that first fill European sherry oak, is presenting as fresh red fruit. And I think maybe that's partially the added refill bourbon, ex-bourbon, and refill hogsheads. 21 years old. I don't have much leather to speak of at all, in fact. Not that that's the only marker of age. Of course, this is a very, very potent nose, and that's one of the things that you get with older whiskeys if they're done well. They will have more fragrance overall. Okay, let's give this a taste. Cheers, everybody. Compared to the fruity nose, we have a lot of spice on the palate. Lots of candied ginger. A little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon. Some white pepper. It's really zesty. And you have to understand the wording here. First fill sherry seasoned European oak. So, as far as I can recall, Edrington with their bodega in Spain, they get 2 years of seasoning for those barrels. So compared to the older sherry barrels or even bourbon, there's been less content in those virgin barrels for a shorter length of time. That doesn't make sense. The same content for a shorter length of time. And in fact, they may not even fill those barrels full. I'm not exactly sure what the process is. So we've got very, very active wood here. And the European oak would be toasted versus the American oak for the ex-bourbon and the refill hogsheads would be charred. Settling down a little bit. More nutmeg than cinnamon. which I think is good. A hint of clove in there even. Ginger, so lots of sweet baking spices. The finish is, of course, it's very long. And the mouthfeel, by the way, yes, very mouth coating, almost a tad syrupy, which is awesome. The finish, lots of spice. It's a bit dry, a little bit astringent. Let's add some water. We're going to add 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's it. That's about 1/3 of a milliliter into about 15 milliliters of liquid. Okay, so now let's check out the Highland Park 21, the same whiskey, with about 30 minutes of breathing time in the glass. Got the whiskey hat on there. Well, this is interesting. Now, definitely I get some waxy, leathery notes coming through in this Highland Park 21 with time. And the fruit is toned down, actually. And there it comes. So it kind of, I guess it sort of builds up a little bit with a lid on, but it gives you more access to some of the, I guess we'd call them, what would they be? They'd be heavier notes that build up and get closer to the top with the lid on. Yeah, much more leathery. And yeah, I still much less fruit than without time. So a person, with a little bit of trial and error, could make a choice as to how they like to pour their Highland Park 21. Right off the bat, get that fruit, or put a lid on it, come back a half hour later, get some leather, get some wax, some real old school age, if you know what I'm talking about. Somebody asked me about the word old school and what I mean by that. Barrels were more carefully dried, air dried. The content was in generally longer. Even for bourbon, the ages of bourbon releases reduced from about the 90s, 1990 until 2000. Now it's picking up again. But a lot of the barrels, let's say in 12, 15, 18-year-old single malt Scotch whiskies, may have content. The ex-bourbon, the bourbon content may have only been in there for exactly 4 years, when some of those old releases used to be 6, 7, 8 years old. Like Wild Turkey 101, for example. All right. So less fruit, more wax, more leather. A little waft of peat. It's the Highland peat. I didn't get it in the 21 without time, but I'm getting it here. Okay, the palate. Cheers again. I really like this with the time. It's a little bit richer. I get more sense of age. I get a little bit more of the peat. I'm getting some fresh fig that I recall getting in the older Highland Park 18, which I reviewed. I don't know, maybe that was number 100 or 125. I'm feeling like this is actually drier and more astringent, but I'm also getting, again, more of the peat and more markers of age. The finish is very spicy, and the palate's not as spicy as without time, so this is the difference here. Okay, same 5 drops. 1, 2, 3. In fact, we'll just do 4 because I can see there's less volume there. Now, I wanted to show you one cool thing before we get back into the first Highland Park without time. Of course, now it's approaching time, but they're still about 30 minutes apart from each other. So I took a tequila course not long ago. This was actually put on by the governing body of tequila analogous to the Scotch Whisky Association for Scotch Whisky. That is called the CRT, El Consular Regulado del Tequila, AC. All right. Anyway, so this is what I managed to get. I had to pass a test at the end of a 3-day, 3 hours per day kind of a seminar. And I learned a lot of things about tequila, and I probably will put some tequila on the channel very soon. I think if you're interested in tequila, you should check that out. And anyway, thank you both to Stephen Halpin from Patron and Flora from the CRT. It was just fantastic learning from you. Thank you so much. Now then, let's get back into these Highland Park 21s. So, yes, now with the lid on, I do get more leather and wax and age now. I still get lots of strawberries here. With the water I think has added even more fruit. So I'll expect to find more fruit in this one as well now. Really interesting water toffee. What's that called? Saltwater toffee. We still have the strawberry jam. A little bit of the orchard fruits in there. Nutmeg. Cheers. With water is where this baby shines. One more sip here. Now, I don't think we'll find any difference with the glass. It's had a little bit more time, but let's check it out anyway. Much sweeter, although also much more astringent, dry finish now with water added. Okay, here we go. Some chocolate. Again, more leather. So for my preferences, I would want to leave that for a good half hour before I try and enjoy my Highland Park 21. And I'll make a note of that in the future so that I know to leave it aside. And that'll probably hold true for the 18 as well. But it's generally a good rule of thumb to pour it, put a lid on, give it 10, 20 minutes minimum if you're having your 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds. A bit of dark, smoky chocolate. I still get that little hint of peat that I don't get in this one. So interesting. You'd think I'd be getting it now. Sweeter, gentler. The stewed fruits, like the stewed strawberries. A little bit of fresh fig in there. All those baking spices. Well, that's a good lesson. And I suggest you try that. Leave me a comment on your thoughts if you've got this. Give it some time in glass and let me know your thoughts, please. And also add some water, not too much, and let me know what you think. I guess I can put these together now. There's no point in separating them now. We got about 30 minutes to go and 60 minutes to go as far as the pour time. That'll make no difference now whatsoever. Oh yeah, now this is exactly the way to enjoy your Highland Park 21 if you are into those older flavors that you get with 18 plus year old single malt Scotch whiskies. Well, let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Highland Park 21. What is that going to be, folks? This is really hard to lift up. It's going to be 92 out of 100. You heard it, 92 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Highland Park 21. I think this is about a point higher than the 18, or 2 points maybe. at least for my scoring. How do you rate this one? Again, please let me know your thoughts. Interesting stuff comparing a little bit of breathing time in the glass with one that was just poured for your whiskey. Please give that a try. I should give this a hug, shouldn't I? I really should. It deserved it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's it. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, a little kiss. Just a little one. Ah, there we go. All right, so great stuff. Please let me know your thoughts. And if you happen to be in Winnipeg, check out the Winnipeg Whiskey Club. And hey, if you're watching a lot of Whiskey Whistle, you're binging on the channel, check me out on Patreon, patreon.com/Whiskey Whistle. Join the Whiskey Whistle crew. You'll get your name in the credits coming up. You'll also get advanced viewing of the future Whiskey Whistles. And last but not least, after 3 months of support, you will earn yourself a Whiskey Whistle glass. Glencairn glass. Oh, they're nice. Okay, take care, folks. We'll see you for the next one. Bye now.